Yeah. I mean, I just want to highlight too, something is, right, a lot of people, when they get into real estate investing and they think of wholesaling, they're thinking of this essentially tear down property, or it's got to be gutted to the studs, or some kind of foundational issue. That's the only way you're going to make money. And then you just get it under contract, got to get rid of it real quick in 3 weeks, and then sell it to an investor who's probably going to beat you up on price because they got to get low and make a profit. You kind of like step back and think about it a little bit differently, like we do. These are two examples of wholesale type of properties, right? We put minimum effort into, not effort, but minimum work into these things, just de-winterizing or just some termite treatment and a minor plumbing fix. If it's a deal and you think you have the right number for it, instead of just trading paper or signing a contract, find someone to fund the deal, close on it, and now put it on the MLS with an agent. And you could then open up to a massive buyer pool to everyone, not just investors. And a homeowner is going to be more willing to pay more for this property than maybe an investor, and thus increasing your spread on a wholesale deal. So just trying to get some people to think a little bit differently from the traditional wholesaling model that's kind of been taught out there forever, where, get it under contract and sell that contract to someone else. Actually, if you think it's a deal, back it up, find the lender for it. There's plenty of capital out there for deal flow, and they'll fund it on a short-term basis for you, and then list it on the MLS, and you could get greater returns by opening up to the broad market.
Yeah, and as we've done over the past 4 or 5 years, Mike, we've really opened up to the MLS, especially as the market got heated up, and we get way better margins on our properties. We're just, like you said, so many more eyes on the property. So you are going to get more competition. You'll get bidding wars at times, and multiple offer situations. So it's definitely a better way to do it. And let's pivot a little bit and talk about the differences, just for our channel here, for people who listen to our channel, the difference between the direct mail marketing, which we used to do, we cut that off in 2013, compared to the REO, which I've always done since 2001 when I got started, and with no marketing cost. Talk a little bit about because you were heavy involved, Mike, from 2008-9 call till around 11 or 12, maybe even 13, where you did the direct mail, or you did pay-per-click and all that. Talk a little bit about what you need to do that, and how much work goes behind it, and how big of a team you need for that.
Yeah, I would almost say is like, when I did that model, you're not really a real estate investor. You're a sales and marketing company at that point, right? Like you said, it's you're getting data, minimizing lists to figure out, who should I mail this piece of postcard or letter to? Is it a landlord list with high equity, or is it a pre-foreclosure list, or is it an expired listing list, etc. Right? So you're crafting marketing messages. Now you can't just send out one letter. You have to do multiple letters over weeks or over months, depending on the motivation of the list. That's just one marketing channel you have to do. Then you got to spend on all these kind of like AdWord clicks, whether it's like a Google pay-per-click, like Sell House Fast in Philadelphia, for example. Those cost monies per click. And then when someone calls right away or fills out a form, you got to jump on it right away, because a ton of other people are probably getting that same lead. And now you have to have your acquisition person, boots on the ground, go out there, make the phone call, etc. So you essentially create a lead gen company, and real estate happens to be a byproduct at the end of the day. But what most people then do is get this under contract, and instead of taking it down and listing on MLS and trying to maximize your return, they quickly try to sell that contract in 2 to 3 weeks. And it's a whole different type of business on the disposition side. And now it's like a mad scramble to save that deal, to get it to an investor and to actually get paid. Yeah.
And then you have the headaches of if it's an occupied property, when can you show the property? Because I see a lot of wholesalers, they try to set up showings, they have to cancel an open house because now the seller, the real true seller of the house, their schedule changed. They have to be there. For whatever reason, so they have to cancel. You have to reschedule. There's so many different moving parts in that business, and you need so many people. You need an acquisition manager. You need a disposition manager. You need somebody to handle the A to B, B to C contract, right? You need transaction coordinators. VAs will always be helpful in there too. But with what we do, we have a couple of VAs. It's you and I, and we have another acquisition manager who we trained, and he does the acquisitions now. And we're just involved in doing some of the private lending, as far as finding private lenders, and just the disposition side, really. So it's simplified things for us. We could turn it on and off whenever we want, which you can't do in direct mail or you can't do in pay-per-click. But I'll talk a little bit more about that direct mail, pay-per-click, and the text blasting and all that, cold calling. Sometimes the text blasting works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes cold calling works, sometimes it doesn't. And these guys are constantly going back and forth, figuring out what's working right at that point. Direct mail has always been a pretty good tried and true way of doing it.
Yeah.
Pay-per-click is good, but it can get really costly depending on what markets you're in. So you have so many different factors to come in. Like Mike said, you're basically a marketing company and real estate becomes your byproduct. For us, we are exclusively looking at real estate. We don't have any marketing costs. Our only costs are our acquisition costs and closing costs and holding costs that we have there. So we keep our costs down. Plus we can turn it on and off whenever we want. If we wanted to shut it down for a month, do nothing, go to France. Like Mike went to France for a week and a half with his family this year. You can go ahead and do that, right? It's a lot easier to shut it down. It's a total different type of business than that business. And that's one I don't want to get back to. And Mike and I talk about this all the time, all the headaches that business was. This model is just so much more simple.
Yep.
Think about it this way too. You can have a ton of acquisition managers that don't cost you anything. We use realtors in different markets. Like Mike said earlier, Jeff Walker, the guy we use here in Pennsylvania, I've been buying properties from him for 20 years. If he has a good deal, he can bring it to us. We have guys in Tucson, Arizona, Casper, Wyoming, people that can bring us deals. So you have an army of free acquisition managers for you. And if you set it up right and do your processes right, it's a rinse and repeat, right? Plus the MLS, which is a whole other animal.
Yeah, good points.
So lots of different ways to skin a cat here, but we feel we've kind of, coined the market here, and we're in a pretty good situation, and we really enjoy what we're doing here without all those headaches of marketing costs, and all the other people that we need to deal with. We don't need to deal with all those people. We just deal with the auction companies, bank REO agents, and title companies and lenders, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Yeah, is it the way you acquire properties and get rid of them aligns with our lifestyle choices that we want?
Totally. Yeah, it is completely a lifestyle choice. And if we wanted to, Mike and I could sit there and go on Zillow and look at different markets and find deals that are just listed for sale by owner on Zillow or just listed on Zillow. I think the duplex I bought in Ambler about 4 years ago was one that just popped up on Zillow, and I contacted the seller through Zillow and bought it and renovated it, rented it for a year and a half, and then turned around and sold it. So you can find deals anywhere, right? And these are free. They're just your time and energy you're putting into it for your due diligence on these properties. So keep that in mind. If you want to learn more too, we got REOauctionacademy.com where you can go take a look. And we have a free webinar, if I'm not mistaken, on that one there. They can go through
a little bit on deeper dive and everything we just talked about today.
Yep. And the coaching program, we have multiple different levels on it. So reach out to us if you're interested. We'd be happy to have you join the group and learn how to do real estate investing the way we do it. All right. Anything else to add, Mike, or is that pretty much it?
Yeah, I figure we'd hop on in another week or two and share some more deals that we've recently picked up and closed on, and keep talking about how we're finding these kind of easy wholesales and different ways to get people to think about real estate transactions.
Totally. Yeah, we got one in Northern Cambria, PA coming up. Again, Jeff Walker, the agent, brought that one to us. We have another one coming up in Michigan, so we'll probably look at those two, if not a couple other two that we're in the midst of closing on. Alrighty, guys. Thank you again for joining us. We'll catch you on the next episode.